Hey guys, welcome back to this edition of Teacher Tip Tuesday. And today's Teacher Tip Tuesday is actually a special request on Google Forms. So, to create a Google form, you're simply going to go to your Drive and go to New, More, and Google Form. There's a couple of different ways that you can get here, but that's the road I always seem to travel. Google Forms are great for collecting data and survey information, but the way I'm going to show you how to use it today is once you get to that point with your students that you're really ready to start assessing them, I would highly suggest creating a pre-assessment using Google Forms to do so. During your instruction, use things like Padlet and quizzes and Edpuzzle and Nearpod, all of those great formative assessment tools. And then when you get to the end of your unit, simply make a copy of this pre-assessment and give it again as a post-assessment. And that's truly going to allow your students to see their growth from one assessment point to the next. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to title your test right up here at the top. So we'll just call it Chapter 1 Pre-Test. All right. And it's very important that the first thing you want to know from them is their name. Just like you would put your name on the top of any test, they do need to put their name here so you know who submitted it. And I have just made this a required question. That way they can't skip it. Here's your toolbar where you're going to add things to your Google form. So I'm going to add a new question. And let's say I want to know what is 20 plus 20, right? Oh, 20 plus 20. And on this, you could either do a multiple choice question. And let's say we do the answer is 50, the answer is 60, and the answer is 40, right? Now, the important thing about working in a Google form, if you want this to grade for you, which you do because you want to save yourself time, you simply go up here to the settings. I would suggest to uncheck this because in the time that we are in now, students may be doing this from various devices, and forcing them to log into their Glasgow account might be one more hurdle for them. So I would just uncheck this. You can limit it to one response so they can't submit their quiz a million times. They can edit it after they submit. If they think, oh, I've made a mistake, let me go back and fix it, or maybe you don't want them to do that, you can choose that as well. Presentation is kind of their goodbye message, and you could say, congratulations on rocking this assessment, and that would show up after they've hit submit. But to get it to grade for you, this is where you need to go. You need to go to quizzes and turn on make this a quiz. All right. So this has made this Google form a quiz. You can also do this from Google Classroom. When you're under the classwork tab and you hit create, you can choose quiz. It's going to give you a Google form and it's going to turn this on for you. Okay. So you can lock your students into the tab that they are in. So for example, if I were taking this Google form quiz and this were on locked mode, as a student, I would not be able to click other tabs outside of here until I were finished. That way I didn't go look up answers or things like that. So you choose if you want to have that turned on. You can release their grade immediately after they're done, or if you want to take a peek at it and then grade it manually, you can. But I would let them know because that immediate feedback is where you're really going to get more bang for your buck because they're way more invested. Do you want them to see the correct answers? Maybe not. Maybe you want them to do a little work and a little digging to find out what those correct answers are. But I definitely think it's important that they see what questions they missed. And then the point values is here and there. You can decide to show that or not. So, all right. So here's my first question. What is 2020? What is 20 plus 20? I have some suggested answers here. This is a multiple choice question, and I need to go tell the Google form what the answer is. So I'm going to press answer key. And let's say the correct answer is 40. So I'm going to check mark that. Let's say this quiz is only going to have 10 questions. So each question is going to be worth 10 points. So we have a total of 100, right? I can either add answer feedback and maybe we could talk about how math strategies, maybe, add your tens columns and different ways that their brain might work. And then when you're finished with that, I hit done. Okay. Now I want to make this a required question so they cannot skip it. I have my answer key set, and I'm ready to go. Well, let's say my next question is, what is 30 plus 40? Well, I don't want to have to redo all of this work, so I can simply duplicate this question right here. So I'm going to hit duplicate, and bam, I got the exact same question, answers, answer key is still set up, it's still required. It's exactly like the one before. So I'm simply just going to change here, what is 20 plus 50? And then I can change my answers. Let's say we'll change this one. And then I go into the answer key and I choose the correct answer, uncheck that one. It's still worth 10 points. Again, I can add feedback if I want, and I'm done. You just keep going on through. Let's say we want to add a different type of question. Maybe we want them to write a paragraph and say, explain your answer. Okay. With this, I'm going to turn on required for sure. The answer key, you can give answer feedback on here, and maybe you want them to say something like how they added tens and ones or something like that. Or maybe you want somebody to defend a position about a historical event, or you want them to explain the setting of a story or the plot of a story, things like that. You can add this right here. I'm going to put in my point value. This is worth 10 points because we're only going to have 10 questions. And one really cool thing you could do is you can have a response validation. So as they're typing their answer here, you can have a length. So maybe you have to type 100-word answer. All right. And so at least you can have a maximum character count. Let's say we want at least 100 words. And if not, you can give them an error text that says, please use 100 words in your answer. If they can explain it in less than 100 words, good for them. But this is just an example of ways that you can use this, right? So your next type of question, we've done a multiple choice. We've done a short answer paragraph, very similar. Check boxes, you can have them doing check boxes. And one thing I want to add about Google Forms is I had a great conversation with some special education teachers. You can use these as well for your progress monitoring. If you set it up on a linear scale and say maybe on the linear scale, 1 is not very often, 5 is super high, that's going to give you a numerical point where you can track that data and see your progress monitoring a lot easier. Just a side note. All right. So basically, that is it for you, how to set up a Google form as a quiz. You simply choose the type of question you want, type in your question, give your answers, check your answer key, make sure you tell them what the correct answer is. And then if you're doing something with text where they're typing, you can do a response validation. Remember, that's these 3 buttons right here. So if you need any assistance in making these assessments, let me know. I will be happy to help you guys, and I will catch you on the next Teacher Tip Tuesday.